do College Station, Beaumont, and Victoria, Texas, and anything in those surrounding areas.
Nice.
I don't specialize in anything specific because I don't like to operate within a narrow window. I like to keep everything broad and, use a big net to catch whatever I can get and see how we can, make the pieces fit together.
Nice. And you had a killer month last month. Was it April? April. It seemed like your numbers were pretty good this year. Where are you at year to date? How many deals have you closed?
Um, I think same. I think no, I think it was March, and I'm still stuck at that. I've got a few deals that have been pushed back for months now, and I think I'm still stuck at that number. I'm hoping to have a few more closed by the end of this month. I'm on my way to get one of my listings signed.
Nice.
Um, we got a buyer finally sent in a contract, or so I'm getting it signed. I'm representing both sides on this deal.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Good work.
Yeah.
And this won't be like a coaching session. I'm just going to talk to you. I mean, you're one of the top producers
Yeah.
on the team. So if you have questions, obviously feel free to ask. I know everyone in here will have questions about you, the market, the way to navigate as a top producer. But let's talk about the interest rates and how that's impacting your market right now. Are you seeing buyers kind of scared to pull the trigger, or are you not seeing anything because homes in Houston are relatively cheaper than they are, say, in San Diego? Because San Diego, we're seeing a slowdown based on affordability.
Well, yeah, we're seeing a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait till next year. I'm gonna wait, I'm, waiting for interest rates to come down." Um, but I was visiting a build community with one of my first time home buyers, and the sales rep flat out told him, he said, whatever happens with the tariffs or anything like that is going to increase prices. So do you know what that means? It's going to increase the sale of this home. So now you're going to have to come out of pocket a lot more than what you would now. So he's like, it's better for you to get it now because you have no idea. We can't guarantee you the prices later on in the year, especially when summertime comes, because that's when more people, there's a higher demand. And he pretty much put it into perspective, and they were like, they were still a little on the fence, but they finally ended up signing on the dotted line. So we get a mixture of everything. I tell my buyers, if you're looking for an opportunity, the opportunity is the one you create for yourself.
Oh, look at that. That's deep. That's too deep for the real estate market. I don't. I guess with the tariffs, let's talk about that. Are we allowed to say the T word on YouTube? We'll find out. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. But I'm seeing a lot of people use that as a scapegoat. Right. I'm building a house here in San Diego with a partner of mine, and last year in December he quoted me $390,000. 2 weeks ago he said, "Hey, due to the tariffs that I don't even think took place yet." So I think people are hiking up their prices even if the tariffs haven't even hit. He's now quoting us $420,000. So that's a $30,000 difference. That's your 10% tariff almost. That isn't really existent in the market yet, but people are using it as a tool to increase prices. Now, could be the case with real estate and other goods in the industry. So I think that that's coming, but I don't think it's affected us yet. But at the same time, people are using that, and I think we all have to kind of put that in perspective for our buyers. So back to, I guess, interest rates. Right now they're at 7%. Do you know what the rates are? I mean, do realtors know what rates are in their markets? Or
They're constantly fluctuating.
yeah,
I get a few people that send them to me on a weekly basis. Oh, well, this week they're at 6.8
yeah.
or 6.5. It fluctuates all the time.
Yeah, this week's a bad week for rates. I mean, they're closer to the 7% range. Almost a couple lenders I quote are above 7%, which in California, that's not good. I mean, you're talking $1 million homes. The difference between 6% and 7% is thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think in Houston, it's a growing area. Talk to me about Houston. I got a buddy who owns a restaurant. He just opened up probably 4 restaurants in Houston, and he says it's
Ooh.
flourishing. It's a good market to be in as a restaurant owner, which leads me to believe that people have money and they're willing to spend in that area, and they're willing to buy houses. So, talk to me about Houston. It's come a long way, I think. How old are you?
I am 30. 38.
And you've lived
Forgot how
there
old I was.
your whole life, or?
No, we came down here in 95. I'm originally from you know where Baldwin Park is?
Yeah,
Over by, yeah, I'm from the Baldwin Park area.
nice.
Um, so yeah, we came down here in 95, and you know, when I was going to junior college, like, dude, the street, it was a long ass road. I don't know if I can say that word.
It's okay.
Long road, and like now you have nothing but new communities out there. You have an HEB out there. You have a lot of grocery stores and everything, you know, coming up.
That's crazy.
I think Houston, I don't, a lot of people say, oh, the city of Houston, but me as a local, I consider Houston, you know, all the surrounding areas, the suburbs where the new developments are going. If you know North Houston near Humble, I still consider that Houston, but it's technically Humble, Kingwood area. So I think it depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
because I consider all that a part of Houston. You know, so, but yeah, it's definitely growing a lot, especially in areas that I wouldn't have ever expected to grow. There's a lot of new development taking place in the suburbs. The suburbs, Houston is growing sideways, more than anything, because there's a lot of land out here.
Mm.
So I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like the Houston market. We're working on a deal together in Humble. I've researched that area quite a bit now since we've been in escrow. So I pretty much know Humble probably better than you. But at the same time, I think it's a growing area, just Houston, the surrounding areas, based on the restaurant that my friends are opening. They're flourishing. The business is booming. I don't know if it's because it's Texas and things are just more affordable. There's no state income tax. People might have a little bit more cash to spend, but it seems like that area alone is flourishing, which is good. It's on the upside, and I think all of Texas, maybe Austin as well, is kind of slowed down a little bit. San Antonio's growing. I know Tyler's from San Antonio. He's in Waco now. I don't know how the economy's there, but it seems like Dallas is the place to be in terms of growing markets. But what do you see in like the commercial zone of Houston or in that area? Are you seeing a lot of office spaces sitting empty like we have here in California? Or are you seeing companies going over there and filling up those office spaces?
No, you have a lot of empty offices all over the
Oh
place.
wow,
Yeah, I know right now they're building. They tore down a hotel that was right across the street from Minute Maid, across the highway, and I think they're rebuilding it and putting something new in anticipation of the uh, the FIFA games that are going to be played here next year.
nice. Yeah, so you're seeing the same thing everyone is in commercial, just empty
Yeah,
office spaces. I think the game plan for commercial is just to convert those things into housing eventually, or multi-use purposes mixed with commercial and residential. I think the days of I'm in an office now and no one comes in. They this thing was a 3,000 square foot office. Now it's probably 1,200. They shrunk so much because no one just comes into the office, which is sad in a way because I used to like the office setting and being able to meet people and congregate and have a meal and just getting to see people and kind of brainstorm with people. So it sounds like it's a common theme. It's post COVID, right? No one wants to go into the
yeah.
office; they're not forced to. But I wonder if that ties back into housing. I mean, where people are working, are they working from home? Are you seeing a lot of work from home there? Or?
Yeah, a lot. One of my clients right now, she works from home. She's a mortgage, insurance mortgage. Not no no. She does insurance for the house. I forgot what it's called.
Home insurance?
Uh, yeah, home insurance. There you go. Woo! It's been a long day. Yeah, she does home insurance and she works from home. Occasionally, she'll go to the office. I had another buyer recently. She was going to work remotely. However, her company is forcing her to go back into the office. So it just depends. You know, we see both out here.
That's crazy. That's good. I mean, I think more people
Yeah.
should be going back into the office, but I don't know if it's realistic. I think people are so comfortable now. It's been 5 years, 5, 6 years, right, of people being able to work from home, and they're getting comfortable with that. And I think companies are adjusting. In terms of back to the real estate market, are you seeing a lot of seller concessions or price reductions with some of the homes that sit there longer? What's your average day on market in Houston?
It depends on the area. Because certain areas you see 30 days, others you'd see a lot longer. Even so, you see some outliers that'll close, go under contract in 7 days. Others in that same zip code will be on the market for over 100 days. So right now in certain zip codes, you see 30 days, maybe 60. Um, but it just depends on a number of factors. It depends on, the pricing. I know I've had a few sellers that want to price above what the market would be because they heard somebody else tell them, hey, this is the best way to negotiate. Price it above what it would sell for and then work it down. And that has hurt their chances on getting a good buyer. And, here they come 3 months later. Hey, what's going on? I'm like, I told you this is what was going to happen, and here we are having this conversation. Um, we see that occasionally. I'll get a buyer that takes my advice. Um,
Occasionally.
they'll take my advice, because they're not listening to Joe Blow from down the road. They'll take my advice and they'll price it accordingly, and in less than 2 weeks, we'll have it under contract.
Yeah. Yeah, that's few and far between, but the people who do listen, I think people don't give real estate agents credit. You know the market. I mean, good agents know their markets. They know sellers' tendencies. They know a lot of the ins and outs of the market, and you should trust a good agent. So for me, it's always researching the agent you're working with, making sure they're actually closing deals in the market, and understanding the ins and outs of a listing or a buyer side transaction. So I'm glad that some people listen to you. I think that you're a stud in the marketplace, and people should be blessed, should know that they're blessed to work with you. But at the same time, they
Oh,
don't.
shucks.
Yeah, yeah. Don't blush, don't blush. But I recently, I mean, we're gonna segue into your branding and your marketing. I recently went to your social media page, and I
Oof,
never, I maybe I do this. I don't do this with
oof.
everyone, but I went to your page and I kind of stalked you, right? I wanted to see what you were doing, and I don't think I've ever pressed play and listened to your video post with the volume up, and I always just watch the video, right? That's I'm usually just in social media zone, like taking a shit or in the office, so I can't really watch what you're saying. And recently, I was watching what you were saying or listening to what you were saying, and it's actually pretty good stuff. I think your social media is good and it's growing, and you have opportunity to make it even better. So, talk to us about your social media presence and how that's kind of influenced the success in your market in your career.
It's helped me get in front of a lot of people that are a few years down the line on some occasions. It's helped me, reaching people I would have never expected to reach, or even within my own circle of influence. I'm not the type of person to like blow somebody's phone up, especially if I know you. Like, no, we're gonna talk when I know it's the right time to talk. But I've had other people just reach out to me and say, hey man, I know this is what I'm going through. This is my situation. Uh, I've had somebody buy a house and they were like, hey, I need to sell it immediately. And I flat out told her, I'm like, well, this is what we're looking at. I put it out there. I'm like, you're not going to make any money on this deal unless you do XYZ. Luckily, we were able to get her, in the right direction and help her with that situation. But as far as me getting like things out there, uh, I struggle, man. I struggle to see what I'm gonna do. It takes me a while to edit some of these videos that I do. Um, I'm not the type of person to do it on purpose. If I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. Sometimes I have to force myself to do it. I know that social media is something for long term. If you're not on social media, who's gonna know you down the line? Like
Yeah.
right now, you have family members. They have their kids that are coming up. They're getting involved in social media. They're adding you because they see that they met you at a party or whatever. They're like, oh, yeah, they're a realtor, blah blah blah. Thinking about getting, doing blah blah blah, getting into real estate investment because they saw a YouTube video. So,
Yep.
I mean, it helps. It helps. As far as a lot of my leads, I don't have a lot of leads that come in from social media. A lot of it is from getting in front of other agents, and
Really?
letting them know the areas. letting them know what areas I work in. Yeah, I've had a few leads, a few deals come in from agents that have just searched me on social media. I put myself in front of them. That I take whatever they give me, and then next thing you know, I run with it, and they're bringing sending me more deals. They said, "Hey, I got other agents that they're fresh on the market. They don't know what they're doing. Can you take this and run with it?" Absolutely. Um,
Oh,
so that's helped a lot. That's helped a
yeah.
lot.
So how do they find you on social? There are other agents, and they find you on social, and they see.
Workplace,
Oh,
workplace.
okay.
Yeah. So I got
Yeah,
to thank the
that's our
chat for all
cheat
the.
code for
Yeah.
those that are like just looking to ramp up their whole production, especially if they're getting into the game. That's our whole cheat code right there.
And how does that? I know we talked about it before, Tyler, but let's repeat it for people who still aren't utilizing it. You just kind of sit there and wait, or like you get notified, right?
I mean,
Uh,
you gotta be cognizant of it being an opportunity one. So, I mean, yeah, when you want to make sure that when like yeah, you're notified as if it was a text coming your way, but you're not gonna know unless you're like really keyed in on what the process is. Like example, I was, helping a new member of the herd, get a game plan in place to crush his goals this year. And I was kind of closing out with letting him know, like, hey, make sure you're keyed in with what we do on the agent to agent referrals. And I literally pulled up his market area to show him an example of what it worked while I was sharing my screen. I literally type his city into workplace. And I'll be like, I kid you not, there's a freaking post with his name on it. Literally. Like there's a referral. It was like from 3 days prior. Someone tagged him in it. He didn't even see it because he wasn't in the group. He didn't get notified. You have to be in the group to get notified. He didn't even know. And I told him, I'm like, hey, look, you already got one in your name on it. Like the stars aligned because no one else even responded to it. Call this person. I literally walked him through what to do. He gets off the call. He calls. He texts me, hey, she's sending it to me. It's like, boom, you just got your first client like that.
Dude, that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, insane. But I mean, that's like, it's kind of crazy, and I've said it before, but if you ask like people their first year in real estate, I mean, the most likely source of business, especially your first year in real estate, because you don't have a big, network usually, or people don't really know you for being in the business. It's usually people you already know in your life up to that point. So your existing sphere is your most likely source of your first however many deals you close your first year, 3 deals.
Yep.
With members of the team, like we found that that's actually very much not the case with team members by far. Their most likely source of business is one of these internal referrals we have. That's very strongly outpacing what people do in their first year based off their own sphere and connections running with us. So for a lot of people, that's like literally the springboard to their whole real estate career. It's how they get their first, one, two, three clients done, sometimes their first five clients. And that's cool, Manny, to hear that you like it sounds like you're getting opportunities because people are recognizing not only do you get a connection, but like you'll take such good care of that connection that it sounds like they're sending you stuff over like, some of the newer agents that they're even personally connected with, which is kind of crazy.
yeah. Yeah. I was like, are you sure you want to get it? Like, I'm like, are you sure you don't want to give it to one of your people? Yeah. Like if I'm able to wow them, like they start sending me some of their deals that they know their agents aren't going to be able to, to make happen.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, it's good to hear. I think the tools are there for people to succeed without any experience, right? The limited experience you have is not a, a side effect to you being able to push through that and find ways to get deals through all these tools that you guys have at your disposal. It's amazing to see that. And I like that you're on social, you're on workplace, you're doing it all, right? You're not just taking one thing. You're opening up your, like you said, you cast a wide net, and you're able to attract people from different states and different cities and their other realtors, which
Yeah.
is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Was it a few last month? This lady I used to work with like 10 years ago, she reached out because her mom wants to sell her townhouse. She has a few that she wants to sell. Yesterday, I ended up getting uh, I was putting out my flyers in a neighborhood and got another potential seller buyer lead. he was working on one of the roofs out there. I'm over there just passing out flyers, and he's like, oh, you're a realtor. He's like, this is my situation. So like, yeah, there's opportunity everywhere. You just gotta work it. And I'll tell you guys, I I put these on a buttload of houses, and sometimes I don't get calls at all, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just doing it, being consistent with it, like going out there, calling your old leads, you know, just consistently posting on social media, consistently going out to these neighborhoods. Like you're not gonna go, oh, to the 100th house. Oh yeah, yeah, we want to sell or buy a house. Like it's gonna take time to, you got to sow now and you're gonna reap later.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I know you got to run. You got an appointment here. How do people find you online, and what type of tips do you want to leave everyone with?
Fresh Home Real Estate is how you can find me. On IG. Tips, dude, just hit the ground running. Like no, like a lot, some of these deals, like I have no idea. Like the first deal I took, I had no idea what I was doing, but I took it and I just ran with it. And I learned along the way. And I think the best way to learn how to do something is doing it yourself. You're gonna watch a ton of these listing presentation videos, buyers, presentation videos, and unless you're out there screwing it up, um, you're not gonna know what you don't know. So you can practice in front of the mirror all day long. You can watch all these videos all day long, but if you're not like going out there getting uncomfortable, sometimes the best deals that you can get are, that phone call you don't make, that door you don't knock, that phone call you don't answer, you
Yep.
know, or what I've seen is being present in a room where you just don't want to go. You just don't feel like going. You don't want to go because you don't know anybody. Sometimes just being in that room is what leads you to to the opportunities that you're gonna miss.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Wise word. Wise words by you. I like it. I think you've come a long way. You've grown and matured from what I've seen. Now you just got to close that deal we're in escrow on. If I hear that the seller's not responding one more time, I think I'm going to.
He answered the phone. He answered the phone. You know, I spoke to him later on that day, but he didn't have anything for me. I told him, hey, this is. I'll send you a message. I'll send you a message later.
Long
I'll
story
send you a
short,
message
we
later.
got a deal
Yeah.
together. Seller's not responding. I'm getting upset. I don't want to get upset. I'm a nice guy, okay? I just want to stay calm and collected. But I trust you. It's having someone like you in our corner that I know is working hard to get it done. You obviously want it closed more than we do, probably, and so that's the good
One thing
news.
I've learned. One thing I've learned. Like your sellers, ask them if they're up to date on their mortgage. Ask them if they're on the brink of because LT, this isn't the first one. This isn't the first one. I've got a few others that
Really?
like I've learned, yeah, I've learned. And if you don't ask these questions like right off the bat, make sure, hey, are you up to date on your mortgage? Are you about to lose your house? Are there any other liens? Like these are the questions that you have to ask. And I've never asked them because they're like, yeah, we want to sell our house, blah, blah, blah. We were trying to go XYZ. But it wasn't something that I used to do. Now it's something that I do because I've learned the hard way. Um, Not only with this deal, but a few others that I'm working on too.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know it was a common theme
Yeah.
out there. But at the end of the day, you're working hard. I know you are. So keep up the good work. Send me all those deals. I'll take a look at them. Don't worry.
All right. All right. We'll talk soon, y'all.
All right, buddy.
Peace out.
Let's
All
go.
right, man.
Appreciate you, Money Fresh, hopping on. So H Town, big market area. We got great coverage on the ground there with our guy. And yeah, he had a phenomenal month this past month. He had like I think 1.5 million closed, 5 deals closed in a month. And what's crazy is that's just enough to get you top five on the team. So we had
Nice.
like I mean, shoot, we had like I think 10, almost 10 people that cracked the million mark last month, and to be the top spot, I mean, shoot, that's a competitive thing on a monthly basis at this point. So,
Dude, that's
um,
awesome.
yeah, the squad's making stuff happen. I'm surprised how big Houston is. I was there like a week ago, and like anytime I needed to go somewhere, it was a solid 45 minutes. No matter which direction where I needed to go, like to get anywhere, 45 minutes one way.
That's how
So
I feel
that's like
about
the
Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, big area, but lots of opportunity. I think that's the exciting part about it. I mean, I feel like you can build as big of a real estate business as you could imagine in a market like that.
Yeah, I think Manny's doing a good job out there. He's crushing it. He's staying consistent on social. He's staying in front of people. He's staying in the right rooms, like he said. And I think that's a lesson, a valuable lesson for everyone here is to stay active, right? If you're a real estate agent, you're a wholesaler, you're an investor, the easiest thing to do is just sit at home or sit at the office and not get in front of people on a constant daily basis. The pipeline will run out and it will run dry if you don't have a good system in place that sticks you in front of more and more people. So keep that in mind when you're in your own little bubble. You got to pop the bubble. You got to get out. You got to start talking to people. One of the things I push myself to think about is where's the next deal coming from every single day. You operate like you're broke, right? Is it coming from a real estate agent? Is it coming from a Facebook lead? Is it coming from marketplace? Is it coming from a family or a friend? Is it coming from social media? I always have to stay in front of people, and that's why I post daily, and that's why I post stories, and that's why we film content, and that's why we do this. I do want to teach you guys lessons and help you guys learn and make you guys laugh, but selfishly, I know you guys have the deals, right? So I want to provide as much value as I can for all you guys at home. So when a deal does pop up, like it did for Manny, he said, "Hey, Josh," he sent me a message, said, "Hey, this deal's sitting. I can't get it sold. I can get it to you at this price. No one's put an offer in. If you want to commit to this, my seller's already agreed. I'll I'll get you guys in escrow tomorrow." And basically, without me posting every single day, I think Manny forgets about me. I don't think he goes, "Oh, let me text Josh," right? I want you guys to learn that. That's a valuable lesson for you guys. Is always stay active. Post something. Chris on our team, Chris John, he used to be part of the cult. He hasn't posted in 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm like, dude, you gotta keep posting. Post something just to stay in front of people, and that's kind of what I want you guys to learn from what Manny's doing there in Houston, what people are doing in the real world. They're just staying in front of people, getting on the phones, getting in the right groups, meeting the right people. So that's kind of what I want to leave that bottom of the hour with for you guys. But you guys have any questions? We don't have any other special guests, right, Tyler? Anyone else volunteer?
No, but we got people that showed up for the call. So I guess however we want. Like I'm not sure if anyone has questions, if we want to do Q&A or kind of what value we can bring for the people here. But I'm up for whatever makes the most sense.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, raise your hand. I'll just start talking, I guess, some of the stuff I want to talk about. And Tyler, you could chime in whenever you want. But you guys have anyone there? Who we got? I can't really see on my phone. We got Donovan. What's up, Donovan? What's up? I see Richard Judge. I see
Hey,
Mr.
Josh.
Whitman. Where's Nick Bowen? I don't see Nick Bowen. I see Mr. Market. Ryan Walters in the house. Prisma's in the house. Who else?
If you're on the YouTube, say what's up in the chat. I know I saw like 4 of you, but I know there's another 20 watching. So say what's up if you're
There we go. I
watching.
see Essie. Her name's Essie, right?
SE, yep.
Where's she? Where is she on mute?
She's in the great state of Florida.
I might have to call her out because I sent her data and I don't think she called any. Remember that one video we did?
I don't remember.
Well, I remember we had her on the call and she's like, "Yeah, I need data," and I sent her the data. I don't think she called, so it's not much I can do. But if you guys have any questions, chime in. I appreciate you guys being here. I don't know what my camera guy's doing here. What are you doing over there, Jason? But that's Jason on the camera. He's been helping me create the course. We have that wholesale course. I want you guys to jump in there, give me as much feedback as possible. The course is for you guys. It's a free 5-day boot camp on how to wholesale property, how to find property, how to find distressed homes, sellers, divorces, pre-foreclosures, stuff like that, and then how to get those under contract and then wholesale them to end buyers like myself or other investors in certain areas. So check that out. What's the website? School.com/real
DBR.
real estate wholesale. Real estate. Oh, you could go DBR backslash. How come I keep saying backslash DBR? But yeah, we talked about it a little bit with Manny. The interest rates are up. I know for everyone, interest rates are a factor. I quoted someone today at 6.875 all the way up to 7.25. And I don't know if things are going to get better anytime soon. I think everyone's got a lot of hope in these interest rates coming down, but the truth of the matter is, boys and girls, these rates have been here for almost a year and a half. And we're seeing some fluctuation up and down in some areas. For the first time in 4 years, 5 years, San Diego home prices are expected to decline for the first time. And that tells me that we're at the ceiling, right? The home price ceiling. If Zillow and Redfin are saying, hey, San Diego home prices are going to come down, they haven't said that in 4 years. And even 4 years ago, they were wrong, right? When they did say it. So I'm hoping they're wrong again. But it's gotten to the point where affordability is kind of in no man's land. I don't think anyone can afford a house in San Diego, in Southern California. I don't know how it's like in Texas or Florida or some of the other markets you guys are in. So chime in. I just know what I see here in San Diego. I see people still buying in Florida. We have a loan in process. Shout out to the Colt for that one. They're buying a duplex for $340,000, renting out one, and then they're going to live in the other one. So house hacking could curb the affordability issue, but not all areas have good house hacking homes, right? In San Diego, we don't have too many duplexes under $1.1 million. So house hacking is kind of out of that question. So house hacking is an option for some of these less affordable places, but what do you do if there's no house hacking options? That's kind of my question to you guys. What do you guys see out there that I'm not, and do you guys have more hope than I do? Because I see what I see, and I don't have any hope in this market.
I
Yeah,
have an S ton of hope.
Ooh, everyone.
what's up?
I have an S ton of hope.
Okay.
An S ton. Okay, let's go.
Is that a good? That's good, right?
Think so.
Okay. I think
Yeah, yes, it's good. Yes, it's good. No, my bad. I dropped my sunglasses in my feet.
well, at least you have hope, and I hope you find your sunglasses. I think hope is good, right? If you guys are real estate professionals, the hope that's you're the hope that we need to keep the market moving forward. There's going to be home buyers in every single market. I think the real crash is transactional, right, Tyler? We had the lowest transactions to date last year, or since 2000.
Yeah, last year was like shoot, we went from 7 million to 4 million sales in a year in our industry, so that's a pretty substantial drop.
So that's your crash, right? That's your crash in a nutshell. It's not going to be necessarily home prices, but it's transactional. If you lost almost half of your transactions, what's going to happen this year, Tyler? Is it going to be more of the same, or are we going to drop another 30% from there? I mean, are we going to get to 3.5 million or 3 million transactions? That would be chaos, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to drop again. I think, if anything, hopefully a bit, not a crazy increase. I think it might be a gradual, like relatively small, maybe 10% increase. I think we'll see as the year plays out. But I don't think it's going to be worse on that front this year. But the commission pool's actually gotten bigger. You know that? Like that's the crazy part is even though the transaction count is down, like and has gone down a lot, like I mean, the commission pool is technically bigger. Why? Because prices have gone up. Like same period of time as we've dropped, prices have gone up. So there's actually a greater pool of commissions, even though there's less deals being had. So I think you know, the person who's really in the worst boat is the people doing little to no business. That like those are the people really suffering. But if you're getting deals done, like I mean, you're getting more per deal just based on the prices, but then inflation hits too, so you don't really feel it. If anything, you probably feel like you went backwards, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're back to square one. But I'm seeing that what was that thing that they just passed the realtor commission thing? I forgot what they called it even. But ever since that was passed, I think commissions have gotten way higher. I think some of the smarter agents are negotiating higher commission splits with their buyers, and sellers are left paying for it because of the slowdown in the market. So if you're a good buyer's agent, you're telling your buyers, hey, I'm a 3% commission guy, 3.5%, 4% commission guy. Don't worry about it. I'm going to negotiate it with the seller because you have the confidence that this market is so slow that these sellers are going to negotiate. I had one personally where they requested a 3% commission. A 3% commission in California on a $600,000 home. That's a lot of money. I said no. This is a personal deal of mine. I said no. I'll give you 2%. They had the audacity to counter back. And you know why they had the audacity? Because they knew I didn't have any other offers. And so they countered back commission at 2.5%. And guess what I had to do? I had to take that offer because I didn't want the buyer to run away, right? I wanted to accept it, get in the escrow right away. And so I think that's happening more and more. Maybe we're not paying attention to it, but if you're a smart buyer's agent, a listing agent, you're making more money on these transactions, which should help the people who are still doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean that at the end of the day, that's the case with any market is there's a relatively small percentage of people doing most of the business, right? So our goal, at least my goal, I feel is if you're if you're running with us on any capacity, or even if you're just listening to us, like I want you to be in the portion of the markets that's got the market share at the end of the day. Because
Yeah.
then I mean you control your own destiny if you've got leads and business coming your way.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have plenty of leads, you can ask for less commission, right? You got to do the volume game versus you want to do quantity versus quality. Just get people in and out. And I mean, before they were forced to take whatever the commission was, right? 2% couldn't negotiate it. 2.5 couldn't negotiate it. But now I think the power agents are using this in their favor, and they're using this as a negotiation tool that will get more deals into escrow, not less, which is fantastic for agents. So I see commissions going up. I see transactions going down. I see home prices balancing out across the country. I think if San Diego is going to drop, that means LA is going to drop. That means San Francisco is probably going to be level or dropping. Those are your three big markets in California. It'd be safe to say Florida probably will dip a little bit because inventory. There's so much inventory there. Um, Places like what's that place in Texas called? Austin, Texas. Inventory's up. My friend who lives there is saying there's houses, 3 or 4 houses on the same street that are for sale that are price dropping aggressively. And so I think at the end of the day, it will show a 2 to 5% decrease, maybe even more across the country. And that's kind of when the chaos will start once the media catches up to that. And if rates don't come down when that news comes out, I think it's not favorable for the real estate world. And I don't want to be a pessimistic individual. I sound very pessimistic, but I'm optimistic in opportunity. So I think you'll get buyers, you'll get sellers, things will close. You just have to do the right things. And you have to make the right moves. You have to sign the right listings and work with the right buyers and secure and protect your time versus just trying to go after everything.
Yeah. Yeah, good info there. Let's see. We had a question. Do we want to answer a question?
Of course.
So Amir asked, he actually submitted this ahead of time. I'm glad he reminded me too, but he wants to know if we can go over how to comp a home, like an example of like what you would even do in that situation.
Yeah, how to comp a home. Are you a investor, Amir, or what are you, like a agent? It really depends, right? If he's an investor, we can go through that real quick.
Yeah, I think he's an investor, at least for now. He
Sweet.
mentioned a property he found that's vacant, and he's trying to find the owner of it. I think that's probably in that's in reference to, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go over that one quick, how to find the person's owner, the information of the individual. You can go fastpeoplesearch.com. It's free. It's not always accurate. There's Spokio, Spokio.com. The platforms that we have access to, links should be in the description, are PropStream, Deal Machine, and Batch Leads. All three of those, you have to pay per month. It's about $100 per month. We have links, affiliate links down below, but you can get anybody's phone number if it's public records. And most of the time, if those three softwares don't have it, that guy's blocked. He's removed himself from everything. What you can do if you have Deal Machine is go ahead and send them a mailer. And then they start a mail campaign, and you just hope that they call you. You go door knock them, so on and so on. So hopefully that answers your question on how to find people's information. In terms of comping a property, we have it in our course, but I can kind of briefly go over it here. I wish I had the ability to share my screen. But for me, the most efficient way to do it without buying software, because there's software called Cloud CMA. I don't know if you've heard of it, Tyler, or the other agents, but I use it for some of my my comp progress, I should say. And so what you do is you type in the address on Redfin, 123 Main Street. It'll pop up. Click on it. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, Redfin and even Zillow, they have the data on what's sold in the last 6 months. So it'll show you homes that recently sold. Places like Texas, they're a non-disclosure state, right? So they don't have to disclose what it's sold for, so it's a little harder there. So I'd recommend having a boots on the ground agent. Tyler can kind of point you in the right direction in the Texas area. But let's just say it's in California. You go to Redfin, 123 Main Street. You click on the home. You scroll all the way down. Redfin will show you properties that sold within the last 6 months. You go through each and every one of those properties. You open up a new window. Every property that pops up, you look at it. You compare it to the subject property, which is the one you're kind of inquiring about. Let's say your property was 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. You're going to look for other 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot homes that sold in the last 6 months. Voila, one will pop up, two will pop up. You look at those price points and you kind of average those out based on the condition of the property. So look through the pictures and make sure you really do some research on what street they're on in comparison to the subject property, how far apart they are. You want to stay within a mile. I know I'm talking really fast, but this is all the information I'm giving you guys off the top of my dome. If you want a video, like I said, it's in the course, but you look at those 3 or 4 comps that Redfin populates for you, and then you average everything out based on similar layouts, floor plans, condition of the home, and that's kind of how you comp a property for their ARV. That's their after repair value. Now, your offering price should be 65 to 75. I would say 65 to 70% of your ARV. So keep that in mind because you want margins, right? You want to be able to fix and flip it. The hard part right now is finding property that deep and being successful on the exit side of it. So keep that in mind when you're an investor looking for deals off market. If you're looking to wholesale it, you still want it at 60 to 65% ARV, so you can stick in your $5,000 to $10,000 wholesale fee. So that's my recommendation for you, whoever that was. Amir? Yes, that was Amir. That's a different person. I'm not an investor. I want to learn what a good deal. Oh, he wants to learn what a good deal is. That's the same concept. Go to Redfin, figure out what these deals are, see what's selling. If you see a house in your area that sold for $700, a deal in that area would be something at 70%. So it would be around $500, $490. If you can get a house at $490 or less, it's a good deal. Get it, buy it, fix it, flip it, or keep it, or even wholesale it. So that's kind of my recommendation for you guys.
And what's the distinction though if someone's like, I mean, obviously if you're going direct to the owner, what if someone's like trying to find a deal on the MLS? Is there any distinction between what you would say might qualify as a good deal in that situation?
It's kind of similar, right? You're looking at the properties that sold still, the historical data. I would still look at the MLS as a gauge. No offense to realtors, but the MLS isn't really a price gauge. Active isn't it's just someone's opinion. It's a seller's demand to list a house at a certain price. A real estate agent 9 times out of 10 is not in control of the transaction because they're trying to do what their seller wants them to do. So for you to look on the MLS and say, "Oh, these houses are going for 800,000," when in reality they're selling for 7, is going to be a big detrimental cost to you. So what I would do is still look at what they're listed for versus what's sold in the last 6 to 9 months, and then be realistic with your findings, right? If you see that it's 700, stick to 700. Math doesn't lie, Tyler. Only agents do. And
No,
sellers.
in the sense though, like a deal finding, because I know there's people like
Yeah.
I wanted to be clear when people hear good deal, it's like if you're the one direct owner and it's not being marketed, like no one else knows it's available. Like if you're the investor, you've kind of got more in your favor to negotiate a good deal on the price. But if something is on the market and there's multiple investors who might be interested, that's going to tend to drive up the price. So I guess any distinction, because I know like if someone's looking for a good deal that meets that criteria, like are they really ever going to find something on the MLS, or is that strictly if they were going direct to the owner to try to procure the deal?
No, I would say 1 out of every 4 deals I come around that I close on are MLS deals, and you just have to know the market, right? Right now in San Diego, 50% of sales are under the list price. 50%. So if you see something on the market sitting longer than 60 days, feel free to offer something a little bit or a lot of bit lower than the list price. Um, I wouldn't fight or get into a bidding war with some of these on market deals if they're priced low to begin with. I would nurture and go after some of the higher priced deals and try to work them down slowly. It's not going to be overnight. It's going to take an offer, 2 weeks, another offer, more phone calls, and so on and so on.
Nice. So let's see. We got Donovan, I think, and then Nishan. What's up, Donovan?
So I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, but I know I am. So last Saturday, I held a Welcome to the Valley barbecue for my first ever clients.
Nice.
So we invited all of the neighbors around the valley, around their property, had a barbecue. And one of the guests was talking with my dad, and he was saying, we might have to sell our house because if fire insurance increases. So where we are, almost everyone in the valley has lost their fire insurance and they have to use the unfair plan and pay. We call it the unfair plan. California government calls it something else. Some people pay $1,000 a month for fire insurance.
Wow. $1,000?
And $1,000 a month.
Jeez.
Now, something to be thinking of if you look, like I also, I'm selling a property in LA. There's a lot of properties in LA that are in a high fire zone, and they're going to have to pay because they're going to lose coverage. I think it's not if, it's when. So you're looking to buy a property that's, let's say, $1 million. On top of that, you need to have that $1,000 that you're going to have to be paying. So I have a feeling that that's going to also impact pricing in the near future. Because I mean, think about it. It's like someone's like, "Well, I want $1 million for my house because it's worth that." It's like, well, no, now it's not. Before Palisades, before Altadena, sure, but now because of those fires, if I buy your house, I have to pay $1,000 a month just to insure it.
Yeah. We're seeing that a lot
So
in San Diego. It's everything's a fire zone. If you go to the fire zone FEMA map, everything in San Diego is a fire
right.
zone. It's pretty crazy. Um, some parts are flood zones and fire zones. You're like, okay, how does that work? But I'm seeing that people are having a hard time getting insurance, fire insurance, and they do use that California Fair Plan. It is driving up costs, and another thing that's going to fuel those premium increases are rising costs of materials, right? So I don't know if it's necessarily, it's probably twofold, right? The actual fire risk is one thing, but it could be the tariff thing, right? Where insurance individuals or companies are like, okay, we have to account for this going up. We need to charge more or we need to pull out. And a couple companies have pulled out. So I think the fear is real. I don't think people are stopping their home buying progress, I guess, to because of fire insurance, because there are still multiple brokers who are out there insuring houses, right? And they're being competitive. What I'm seeing, Donovan, and you'll see this soon probably, the more you sell homes, is I'm seeing that the insurance providers that are left are terrible. And that tells me they're just stealing people's money basically. And I had a client that I referred an agent to, Goosehead Insurance. I won't name the guy's name. They couldn't get insurance through the big brokerages, the State Farms, the Farmers Insurance people. And so they went to this Goosehead guy that I've worked with for a couple years, and he got them insurance. And lo and behold, 6 months later, leak in the house. They call the insurance company, and guess what the insurance company says? Nope, not covering it. And they call the agent. The agent says, "Sorry, that's what it is." So they're out of pocket a lot more. So what you're going to see is not people afraid to get insurance, is that people are going to lose money when things do hit the fan. Whether it's a roof leak or a foundation issue or fires or earthquakes, these insurance companies are not going to step up to the plate. They're going to make it super
Right.
hard.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, is that kind of adding on to the, how should we say, price balancing in California?
I don't think
Is
so. I don't think they're factoring that in at all. I think prices are
I
prices.
mean, they're the sellers aren't for sure.
Yeah.
Buyers, maybe a few buyers that are being educated by their agents are
Yeah.
starting to factor that in. Like I can speak from my own current clients. We factor that in. Like any property that's in that red zone, we're just not even looking at anymore. Screw it, we're skipping it.
So you're actually proactively saying, "Hey, that's in a fire zone. Don't buy it."
I'm telling them this is in a fire zone here, and so we pulled up the map together. We looked at it and said everything in here, and they're proactive too. So they reached out to their insurance companies, and their insurance companies are telling them the same thing. It's like, if you buy a house in here, we will not be able to insure you. You're going to have to get the fair plan. So I'm just kind of skipping. I'm making my job easier, right? Why bother showing my client a home that they're going to fall in love with in a high fire zone, during the contingencies? They're not going to be able to get insurance, or if they do, it's going to be the unfair plan, paying $1,000 a month, and they're going to be like, screw it. We could literally go for $1,000 a month. What kind of home could you get, right? I mean, that's big money.
Yeah.
So
I feel we have the same thing with
that's
earthquakes.
our job.
I
right?
think it balances out, right? I don't think I
Right,
would.
with earthquakes, though, you can't avoid that. But with a high fire zone, you can at least be like, okay, if I'm in the white area that's not in a high fire zone and I'm in the red area, I instantly know what's going to be the result when I go to get insurance.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is the best choice for you, is to avoid that area.
Yeah. I think
So
it'll balance out. I think we shouldn't have more wildfires. I think everything's been burned that needs to be burned. I think we're getting smarter, hopefully, in California. This is a California thing, right? I don't think it's an issue anywhere else.
I'd say knock on wood, but is that a bad tree joke?
It was a bad tree joke. But yeah, I think it's a California thing, and I think there will be some rebalancing, and I think companies will come back in. State Farm, Farmers, all the big carriers will come back in, and insurance will be reasonable again if those businesses are smart. They'll come back once things settle down, and if State Farm jumps into the California market again, they would take over in a heartbeat. I think more people would jump their current insurance provider and move to State Farm. So I think that's going to happen in the future. So I would coach my sellers accordingly, just like you are. Hey, this is in the fire zone. Things could change in the future. But if they see their dream home, I wouldn't say don't get it because there's a high fire risk and more premium.
No, we're not allowed to say that, right? We're just able to provide information. We don't make choices for our clients, but it's like, this is in a high fire zone, and they're like, oh, okay, skip. So
yeah,
it's more of they have the information, they've already made a decision.
Yeah, that's true. I like it. Yeah, I think there'll be a rebalancing, so I wouldn't worry about it. For now, you have to worry about it, but in the future, I think hopefully there'll be a rebalancing.
All right, I think we got we got like a minute here, maybe. I know Nishan's had his hand raised.
Okay,
So
go for it. I've made babies in less than a minute. Let's see what you got.
Oh no, this might take. Okay, so this might take a little bit longer than a minute because after the current conversation, so doesn't know how you said do you who's got hope? So even while Donovan was talking, so this is what I projected. This is what I've been seeing on my side. It feels like we're more entering into a situation where the buyers and the sellers are all going to be in the exact same situation, which is we don't want to move, but we have to. Let me explain. One, the fire insurance thing. Didn't even think about that. People are going to have to like until California. Unfortunately, until you guys get a new governor, you're probably screwed. So I mean, because it's a regulation problem. It's not an anything else problem and stuff. So I mean, until they can actually get, the loose dead wood and all that other stuff off the forest ground, because I hear your fires. I didn't even know this until I looked at it. You guys get fires every year. How is that a thing? That's crazy.
He's just laughing at
But
He's just laughing at the entire state. You guys
no,
get
it's not.
flood. Where are
Okay,
you?
listen,
Where are you
people.
at?
Listen, hey, listen. No, Chicago sucks in its own way. Believe me, I'm not even gonna get
Oh
into
yeah,
it 'cause I love my
Chicago's not
city.
too bad, but people get floods every year, hurricanes,
Yeah,
random acts
but
of God. Like there's things that happen everywhere. It's just saying California's just always somehow on fire for some odd twisted reason.
man. So the way I'm looking at it is, and I've been sending Tyler random reports because I stay just watching random stuff because I'm either working on a house or driving around somewhere. So I'm always listening to things on podcasts, and there's been a lot of groundbreaking happening around the country for different types of factories and facilities and stuff. And I'm not talking about small stuff. I'm talking about Arizona's lighting up right now. I think Wilmington, Delaware just did something crazy for like 21 billion or something like that. So it seems like people are going to start to move, not because they want to, but because they have to, whether it's bad circumstance, new opportunity circumstance. So it's kind of the angle in which I'm going to be looking at all of this until it flips around. Because right now, everybody's in a necessity. It's just like how I don't know about you guys, but I've been on the move for the large majority of my life. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't have had time to sit down and like reorder and start thinking about some things and like find tweak and tune some stuff. Because you get on the hamster wheel fucking routine, whatever you want to call it, and like as a man, you don't realize that you're going and going and going and going and going, and then like the pandemic kind of set everything down. So I think in this reordering of things, people are realizing, hey, dude, we really have to be here. That's why everybody started moving from California, New York, and Chicago to all the places down south. Shout out to your guys' barbecue. But the so that's how I'm looking at it. I think this is the one time buyers and sellers all have the same idea in mind. We don't want to leave, but we're out of here for whatever odd reason that would be, whether it be good or bad. Now, the second part that I was going to get to with the CMAs. So I don't know how not I don't even know if I'm supposed to be doing this, but I've been trying to stay on top of tech stack. I don't know. My daughter's been coding since she was 10. She's 15 now, so she always keeps me up to date with like the cool stuff that's happening.
It's pretty cool.
So she's been telling me all the time, Papa, you got to use Grok, blah blah this. It's just on your Twitter, just use it. So oddly enough, Grok will take an address that you put in and CMA it for you. And if you prompt it to do exactly what you want it to do, like, don't look farther back than a year. This is the address. Do any house in like a mile or two radius. Give me 5 properties besides the subject property. And then all you got to do is check its homework after that. Because what I learned is these things aren't completely stupid. So like, but they're kind of good enough where it's like they'll nail a good percentage of the bullet points, but every now and again they'll get something wrong because it's just the internet at the end of the day. There's wrong shit on the internet too. So it's just getting the fire hose. So, but I've been for the last like 3 days, I want to say, I've been using Grok to do some just random CMAs that I'm looking at on the MLS and stuff, and it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So I
No,
don't
I
know if
agree. I
that
think AI
helps.
was my secret tool, but I guess everyone knows about it. But there's several. I like Grok. ChatGPT is kind of weak when it comes to CMAs. There's another AI option, but yeah, I think the more that gets established and the data is better, and you can cross check, like do your homework, do the follow up on
Yeah,
Grok. Like don't just trust it at its surface, but it's probably better than humans, right? At the end of the day, it's better than
it
going
feels
to
like it.
yeah, it's better than going to
Like,
Redfin and then kind of averaging and guessing. I've been wrong probably 5 out of the last 10 transactions where I would think a property will exit for 1.8 and it won't sell at all or 1.6 or lower. So I've been wrong, and I think the more tools you have, if Grok's the one, that's Grok's the one. But can it?
well,
Maybe you could prompt it to factor in the 1% decrease that San Diego might have next year, right?
oh
So
yeah,
so be
as long
smart.
as you prompt it, it'll do it.
Yeah, be smart with the
But
prompts. Hey, pull
so,
the
and I'm
latest
also,
comps and then drop it by 10%, and that's what this ARV is for this property.
and I'm also cheap as hell. Tim Whitman, I just saw your chat thing. So I don't use the API. I literally just use what's on my Twitter or X or whatever we call this thing now.
You can
Like I
buy
literally just
Grok. I haven't looked into it.
yeah. Oh well, no. Tim said something about an API, and I've
Oh,
heard my daughter say that word. So I think it has to do with like loading things up or something like that.
yeah, it sounds
But if
very
that's something you got to
very
pay
Tim
for,
Whitman.
oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Grok is accessing those. Oh, sorry, I'm actually reading this live. That's my bad.
Oh, okay, it's all good. All right, well, thank you for the input. I appreciate you. I like it. That was some good words. Tyler, anything else before we leave?
No, I mean, if anyone needs anything, let us know. We're here to help. Whether it's insights on how to find deals. I mean, that's part of like what this time's for too. But let us know what you need, how we can help. If you're looking to make stuff happen, I mean, it's the beginning of peak season of the year where 60 to 70% of all the sales happen between May and August, right? So we want to make sure you're positioned to seize that opportunity. So connect with us and let us know what else we can do to help besides answering questions here on Tuesdays. But otherwise, I think we'll see you next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday. I'm going to try to do some office hours probably tomorrow or Thursday. Just jump on here live, answer anyone's questions. Just chill. I won't be talking unless you have a question, so it'll kind of be awkward 90% of the time unless you guys come prepared with some questions. So, yeah, I'll be here. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Manny for jumping on and sharing his insight about the Houston market and his journey through the real estate market. But yeah, hit us up on Instagram, DM me if you have any properties, any questions, any concerns. If you just want to say hi, hit up the DBR course on school. Go through the boot camp. Let me know how it is. You're kind of in the beta phase before I launch it to the rest of the world. But yeah, once again, appreciate everything. See you guys hopefully tomorrow.